Hi everybody, my name is Joanne and I'm going to be your instructor throughout this Introduction to Java series. In this series, you're going to learn everything you need to in order to start programming with Java. But before we get into the meat and just start writing a Java program, first let's review what Java is. So what is Java? Well, to be a little more on textbook, Java is a general purpose, concurrent class-based, and object-oriented language. Yes, that's a lot of technical words in one sentence. So let's break it down a little bit. A general purpose language means it's not bounded to a specific domain. Some other general purpose programming languages are C, C++, Python. Concurrent means multiple programs or part of the program can run in parallel. This is going to be very much on into the future in a more advanced course where you would probably learn about synchronization or multi-threading. Now, class-based, meaning that everything within a Java program has to be inside a class. And object-oriented is a design philosophy, and we'll get more into that later on in this series. Another thing to know about Java is that it's intended to let application developers write once and run anywhere. This means that when you have compiled Java code, it can run on all platforms, going back to our general purpose language, and without the need for it to be recompiled. The only way this is done, of course, is that Java is supported on those other platforms, which means that you have to have Java installed. Now, that's also true for us in order to write our code. So before we start programming, we need to download the necessary tools in order to build our Java applications. Let's download our Java Development Toolkit, or JDK for short. So we're going to go to your search engine and you're going to type JDK download. Look, I did it once before. So JDK download, here we go. We're going to Oracle's website. Now, at the time of this tutorial, Oracle's latest version of Java SE is 13.0.1. Just to be so that you guys know, Oracle owns Java. Java was written by a company called Sun Microsystems, and then Oracle bought out Sun 10 years ago. So now Oracle owns it and's been updating it. So the latest version right here, we have our Oracle JDK. There's also something called OpenJDK. If you are familiar with that, you can do that. We're just going to stick with Oracle for this tutorial. So Oracle JDK, click download. So here is our Oracle SE Developer Kit. And we have our Java SE Development Kit 13.0.1. Before you can download, you got to click this obvious radio button to say that you accept the license agreement. And be sure to read the license agreement. At least there's no firstborn children being sold to Oracle. So if that's what you mostly care about, you're safe. Otherwise, read through it, make sure you're familiar with it. In my case, I am on Windows, as you can probably tell. So I would download the Windows 64 .exe. It's right here actually, but I'm just going to save over it. After it's done, you're going to install the software. Go through your standard prompts. So in this case, we're going to run it. And you can change the path or anything that you want. Put it in program files, Java JDK. Remember the spot. So go through your paths, install everything, and then get back to me once you are done. So after you've installed your JDK, you now need an IDE. An IDE stands for Integrated Developer Environment. It's what you use to program in. You might have used an IDE before. In this tutorial, I am going to be using IntelliJ, but you can use whatever IDE you are comfortable with. If you are not comfortable in any IDE because maybe you haven't programmed much, then follow along with me and use IntelliJ. Otherwise, feel free to march to the beat of your own drum. Other popular Java IDEs are Eclipse, IntelliJ like we're going to be using, and for some reason NetBeans is still out there. So and of course there's other ones other than those. Those are just the top 3. So going back to my Google, we are going to download IntelliJ. So IntelliJ, here, IntelliJ download. IntelliJ is owned by a company called JetBrains. So this is IntelliJ IDEA. It's an IDE. For our tutorial and for most of what you're going to be doing, all you need is the Community Edition. So download the Community Edition, go through all the, save it, run it, go through all the defaults, and I'll see you when you're done. So after you've installed IntelliJ, launch it. All right. So now we have our Welcome to IntelliJ splash screen, and you are going to create a new project. So here you go. You create your new project. Your SDK will show up at the top here. If you've installed 13, it should be up here. But for example, I had 12 and 13 installed, and 13 isn't showing up. Or for your case, it was blank, but you know that you installed the JD key. You can do new, and this is where you needed to keep track of your path. So in my case, I already had my files in my F drive for my program files, but yours might be on your C drive if you're using Windows, or wherever it's stored on your Mac. So make sure, I told you before, to pay attention to that path that it's installing to. So go to that path that it installed to, select the JDK folder. You'll see here I have some things called Java FX. Don't worry about those. Just look for the JDK. So you should have a path called JDK 13. That's your home path. Hit OK. Now my project SDK is pointing to 13, Java version 13.0.1. All right, we don't need anything else. So we're going to hit next. We don't need to create this project from a template, so we're going to do next, and then we're going to name our project. So in this case, I'm going to name our project Intro to Java, and this is where all the stuff that we're going to learn about in this series are going to go into this project path. So we click Finish. Now, other than the fact that it shows us a nice little tip of the day, you might want to keep these if you want to. You have an empty path. So this is your intro to Java. You have your little project on the side. You can expand it. And now you have your path here. This is your source folder. And this is where everything's going to go. All right, so we are going to make our first program. It's going to be a very simple program. We're going to print out Hello World. Now, yes, I know it's the typical thing that everybody does, but it's a good way to test out, make sure everything that is working. Before we just go right into it, yes, you can make a class file and it can go into a default package, but we are going to make our own package. So you right click source and you do new package. Now packages, in order to encourage that you don't have duplications, you usually would make a package name that is unique. If you have a website, you make it backwards, so you build up. So so in my case, I have a website and it's called Chaotic Toe Jam, right? So chaotictoejam.com. So you do it backwards. So it'd be com.chaotic.toejam. No one else owns the domain, so it kind of puts back that ability that it could be clash. And then I could go even deeper. So maybe I have my tech site could be .tech. I'm not going to do that. It's going to be just com.chaotic.toejam. And then in this case, we have our intro to Java, and I want our part 1 of the series. We'll just call it part 1. So this is just going from a more general number to a more general name to a less general name. This prevents conflicts, and as you start introducing more packages and third-party applications, you can have conflicts with your package names. So this is a nice thing to get in habit of now. Now maybe you don't have a website, so just be creative. It doesn't really need to be it. Sometimes I just drop the com, and actually, like, sometimes I just make it a default. But in this case, I'm just going to do com chaotic toe jam. So for you, you can do whatever you want. Heck, you can even just put part 1 because we're not going to be merging in any packages. So we hit OK. So now we have our new package placed in here. You can see it's right on the side. And now we want to add in our Hello World project. So right click this, new Java class, and we're going to write Hello World. Capital H, capital W, all right? Double click class. And IntelliJ has now created our hello world.java file. It's in the package com chaotic toe jam part 1. And then they already defined the first block for us, our class basically. This is public class, and then the class name is hello world. These brackets are wrapping it into a block, okay? So this is going to be where all the definitions of this class is. Remember, I said that Java is a class-based program. This meaning that everything that's in Java, when you write it, your methods, your functions have to be inside a class. In this case, our class is Hello World. So let me zoom in. So our class is Hello World. Now, we are going to make our main method. Our main method is the entry point to our program. In Java, the main method has a very specific syntax. The header is always the same. It's public, static, void, main. Then it's string, args, and bracket. So 2 square brackets, because this is indicating it's an array of strings. And then we have our space bracket, and this is defining the block for our main method, okay? This is this bracket, curly bracket here to this end curly bracket. This is the block for our class. So that's the code block for our class. This bracket after our main to the end here defines the code block for our main method. So now we need to outprint hello world. Before doing that, I like to have a little bit of comments. So let's learn how to comment in Java. Java has a few ways to comment. One way is where you do a double slash and say so in this case I'm going to write displays hello space world. Wow, I can't type today. Displays hello world to the terminal. All right. You can also do a code block. This is /star. I am a code block. Just to give you guys an example, this is a multi-line comment. Okay, I'm going to delete that. So we need to output to our terminal. This in Java is called, instead of if you're familiar with C++ or C, you do cout or printf. Here we're going to do something called system.out.print, and then we're going to do print line. If you see here, I have some suggestions that are happening as I am typing. This is an IntelliSense that is being done by IntelliJ, and they are suggesting methods or maybe points for the system.out, like their the parameters there, and this is sending our parameters. So it's saying, oh, you can pass in an int, you can pass in a character, a long float, etc. We're doing print line, not print. Print line puts a line break at the end of the outprint. So print line, and we're going to pass in a string. See, here's our suggestions. We can do no parameters, that just does an empty line that gets printed out, or in this case it has like a string X, right? So we're going to be passing in double quote for a string, hello space world. semicolon. Semicolon at the end. So to recap here, we have the declaration of what the our hello world.java file is in. It's in package com chaotic chojam part 1. Then we have the definition of our class. Every Java program has to have at least one class. Remember, class based. Each class has a name, and so in this case our name is hello world, and by convention you always start it with an uppercase letter. Then we have our main method, the entry point to our program. This is how the program gets executed. This declaration, public static void main string args, is the typical way to have your entry point for your main method. Then within your method, you have statements. We have system.out.println, hello world, and then a semicolon at the end. All statements have a semicolon, which is known as a statement terminator. I mentioned before, public and class are reserved words, or keywords, basically. These are words that are defined for the Java program, okay? And then we have other reserved words here, public, static, void. So we have created our hello world.java file. Let's run it and see how it works. So we right click, and then you can say run hello world main, okay? And there's shortcuts next to it, Control Shift F10 in my case. So you run this, it's building the program right here. And here we have it, outprinting hello world. All right, so congratulations, you have just written your first program in Java, albeit simple. It is the starting point. And now we can now use these lessons that we have learned, which is creating a class, creating a method, to now continue and improve our Java skills.